You'll look at it, you'll know.
Not if you're not an expert.
Huh?
Not if you're not an expert.
And my grandfather's stuff.
An introduction to the Parsha Sara. The Gemara says, "Yafa sichasan mi shel avdei avos mitoroshin shabonim." You see how much more valuable is the simple conversations of the servants of our avos more than the Torah of their sons, because you see that the discussion of Eliezer, that Abraham repeats itself 3 times at great length and great detail. And more than the Gemara says that more than the sheretz and matama boil. The matama from sheretz, which is given extremely amount. It's a very remez in the Torah, right? Like in Shabbos, Lamatas Malach is learned from one word, Ve'ela. And here, Eliezer is given this big length of instructions and conversations, and his tefillas, and his answered, and he repeats it over to Lavan and Psuel, and eventually brings Rivka to Yitzchak.
And there are different nuances. And
there are many different. There's a million nuances. But the Parsha ends up in Shri, which is what we're looking at, in one of the most, we would say, interesting about how relevant was it? Who Yishmael was when he lived and when he died, and how many children he had.
Common children.
Right. So let's look at Shri for a minute, and then we'll go. So maybe it'll help us get back to the. Elu told Yishmael ben Avram asher yolda Hagar mitzvah shivcha Sara Avram. Right. So the Torah Rashi points out that this is. No, Rashi doesn't say the reason why it has to tell us that he was the son of a shivcha. So he has no claim to Eretz Yisrael. He has no claim to the promises that were given to Abraham Avinu because he was the son of a shivcha.
And it belonged to Sara.
Yeah, it belonged to Sara, right? So it was, there's no literal legitimate claim to anything that they're asking for, because we know exactly where they came from. We know they come to the shivcha, to the son shivcha Sara Abraham, right? Ve'ela shmois b'nei Yishmael b'shmois v'tolosam b'chor Yishmael nevoyos v'keda v'adbel v'mibsam u'mishva v'duma v'mas v'chadad v'tema yatur nefesh v'kedma Eilahem b'nei Yishmael ve'ela shmois v'chatzreim b'teresam shnei masar netzim l'moisam l'umoisam. These are sons Shmuel is of Yishmael. There's their names. V'chatzreim. Rashi says v'chatzreim. Kvachim shem. This is their cities. They had cities, I guess, that were known for who it belonged to, and 12 of them, 12 in the Siyam, 12 princes, each one for their own nation. And this is how long Yishmael lived, 137 years. Vayigva v'yamos Yosef alamav. So Rashi brings it. Vayigva v'nemagvia ela b'tzadikim. This is an expression that we find for tzadikim.
Tzadikim is righteous people.
What, Ve'elu Shnei Yishmael?
Huh?
But the fact that it says Ve'elu.
No, it says Vayigva v'yamos Yosef alamav.
Yigva.
The Gemara says all the proof. The Gemara says it's a proof of Gemara in, where is it, in Megillah? That do we know that Yishmael did tshuva? How do we know? Because it has vayigva, vayamos, vayosef alamav. It says 3 expressions for which all together, sum total, only found by tzaddikim. And so Chazal tells us the reason why. How do we know that Yishmael was a tzaddik? Was because when it came to bearing Avram, he was 137 years old. 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 He was 137 You let Yitzchak go first. We see that he gave
Covered.
he
Right.
gave preference to Yitzchak, so we see that the must mean they had done tshuva. V'yishnu mechavilo ad shura shal pnei Mitzrayim b'yacha shura al pnei kol achav v'nafal. Several different pshatim al kol pnei achav v'nafal. One is that he conquered all the was conquered always fought with his brothers. Rashi says, which is sort of like just the opposite of what the other Chazal said that he did tshuva, because it says, and as long as Avram Yishkoin, he dwelled, he was somebody who had a presence. Once Avram died, Nofal, he fell. So the kasha, the two are contradictions. So they try and reconcile them. But then the other question is, why do we need to know this? I need to know this. Because you're able to come back and sit down at the UN and say, we know where you came from, we know your history.
You got to be able to tell the Gazans that,
Yeah, sure.
Here, put him back down in the sewers.
What's interesting, what's the number 12
Yeah.
versus Shvatim? It's as if he was able to Shvatim before.
Right. He was Zech to Shvatim before. Esau was Zech to Shvatim before. Lavan, no, was it Nocher? He was precious.
Oh, boys.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
That would be a challenge.
hey, you the other was right. Still the other Rivkish, the other milk and Nocher, yeah, the children, and Nocher had 12.
The round number.
So there's an interesting Rashi here, and the Rashi in Parsha told us it goes into a greater length. But it occurred to me it's a really interesting sort of connection. Rashi says here on Pasuk Tez Zayin, where the Pasuk Eila Shnei Bnei Yishmael Eila Shmos B'Chatzim B'Zos B'Shnei Masav Nisim B'Mosam. The Eila Shnei Chayei Yishmael. This is how many years Yishmael lived. Amr B'Chia B'Ava. Lo Nishnoisav Shel Yishmael. Why did the Torah count the years of Yishmael? Kedei Liyachas B'Hem Shnoisav Shel Yaakov. So we should know how long Yaakov lived. Mishnasa Shel Yishmael, the Manu that from the years that we calculate Yishmael, the Manu Sheshimesh Yaakov V'Beis Ever Yudal Shana, because there's a 14-year gap. If you try to figure out from where Yishmael was born and Yishmael lived and died, and then Yitzchak, and when Yitzchak was born, when Yishmael was 13 years old, and then figure it, so it's 137. So therefore, you can figure out that there was 14 years in with which fell in between. What's those 14 years? The 14 years that Yaakov sat and learned Torah in Yeshiva Shem Beber. Did you ever go see it?
Yeah.
Yeshiva Shem Beber? It's fast.
Oh, it's fast?
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
That's my Roosevelt.
Every tour guide takes you. Do you want to know
Maybe,
Yeshiva
yeah.
Shem Beber? Tour guide.
Yeah,
There's a big sign, Yeshiva Shem Beber. It's a cave.
Spots?
Uh-huh.
It's the actual place? They say.
I guess if you believe the tour guides.
It's like small house, little bed.
Well, all the small bays, man. But there's
It's
a
like I
Torah.
went once to the water well where where Rav Shimon drank from, in the buxer tree.
Right, the buxer tree. Right, the
You
cave.
know, so I've seen the buxer.
Yeah, sure. The cave.
Yeah.
Cave is there. In
The
near
cave is
Pekin.
there. It's in a Bedouin neighborhood.
It's a better neighborhood, Pekin.
I was there.
There's the cave where we shouldn't buy was for 12 years, and the buxer tree is still there.
And there's an open stream that comes out of.
Hmm? No,
No,
no Jews live there.
It's
Yeah, don't go visit the town.
right.
Yeah, do not go there. So that's what it says. So it tells us
Even
that
if Wade tells you.
Shekayim Shabo Eitzel Lavan Sharik Shapir Yaakov Avinu Meis Yishmael, because when Yaakov left, that's when Yishmael died. Whenever he had a that's what Yishmael. When we give the whole Gemara, and then Parsha told us, give us a whole full description of how we calculate those 14 years.
Right. We did it.
Yeah, Yosef joined us. Yeah. Torah in motion.
Oh, there's Joseph.
Yeah.
Yes, HaRav, I'm here.
Yeah.
And now we can start.
Now we can start. So it's fascinating that the Torah has to give us this whole cheshbon of Yishmael to tell us that Yaakov lived with Yaakov and in Yeshiva Sheber for 14 years. So I thought about just because this is the Heintige Parsha, today's life we're experiencing, that everything that has been done by Bnei Yishmael has caused Klal Yisrael to learn more Torah.
Oh, caused what?
Klal Yisrael to learn more Torah, observe more Torah, to build more Torah. So we see that yes. What did it take? We have to find out every prat of Yishmael's family in order to be able to compare it to what Yaakov did. Right? Yishmael ends up with his family become part of Esav and Sara. All of it to tell us that all the difficulties we have from Yishmael was so that tell us that Torah is what Klal Yisrael gained from it. And that's what Klal Yisrael gained from. So if that's the case, that we understand a little bit more, we can if we put in perspective what is happening to Klal Yisrael now, we can say as one young man said, thank you, Hamas, for having taught me what it means to be a Jew. Mm-hmm. Does that mean that we understand the korbanos that is taken? We don't. Because that's a different cheshbon. Right? That's the Baruch Shalom's cheshbon. The Baruch Shalom keeps track of every person's life and what they have and what they need and what they will go through and what to accomplish the purpose. And the stories are far beyond anything that we can say is derech hateva.
I heard a story today.
Yeah.
Friend, a yeshiva boy went to go visit his friend in the hospital.
It was posted. I mean,
it was. That's what I saw.
Yeah, it was posted.
It's a crazy story.
It's a crazy story. Yeshiva boy went to visit his friend in the hospital. Right next to his friend, the next bed over was a Israeli soldier who had been wounded, and the soldier's friend was visiting him. So the soldier's friend asked the yeshiva bacher, "Why aren't you in the army?" The Chilonim, right? Why aren't you in the army? So he says, "What do you mean? I'm protecting a soldier." So what do you mean you're protecting a soldier? He says, "I sit and learn Torah every day for protect a soldier." Yeah, what's his name? Give his name. It was Avidan ben Karen, right? The soldier in the bed. That's me.
Listen to the story.
That's the term, right?
On the shul chat?
Yeah.
I guess that's what I saw.
I said it's on a couple of chats already. So then the friend said, "So how come he's in? How come he got injured? If you were supposed to protect him, how come he got injured?" So the boy asked the Jew asked the soldier, the one soldier, when were you injured? He says, "Yesterday at 4:40 in the afternoon." And then the yeshiva boy turned white. He says, "Yesterday afternoon, I came late to Seder. I arrived to Seder at 5 o'clock." So he wasn't protecting him at that moment. That's how he got. So we're seeing Hashgacha Pratis in awesome ways. My son Reb Shimon called us Sunday evening. He says Sunday with us. Him Sunday evening, Sunday morning for us. He says in one of the young men in his community is in the IDF in Sahel. And he Sunday morning, this boy, this called. He was home. They gave him furlough. They gave him the week of Shabbos off. He called him. He said, "I wanted to tell you what happened." He says, my troop. I went out on we were first in Gaza. And all of a sudden, we were ambushed. We were surrounded by terrorists. We looked around us, and they took their guns to shoot, and every single one of their guns jammed. Every single one of all the terrorist guns.
Soldiers telling Rebbe's son this story.
Yeah.
That happened to him.
Yeah. Every one of the soldiers. So they eliminated the terrorists. So then they were going a little bit farther, and a bird was flying down, lands right in front of them. They looked down. The bird's feet was on a wire. It was a trip wire. The bird landed on a wire that would have, if had they not said, they would walk, it would have blown. It was a bomb.
Why is it so crazy?
Oh, yeah.
This was happening. It's happening.
The guy that threw the
The guy threw the tzitzis. Right. Huh?
That's where.
This is Rabbi Said. Rabbi Said is one of the, he's like the Pesach Corona of Eretz Israel. He's got all these stories. He says a woman came over to him and says she wants to do something for the soldiers. She has saved 6,000 shekel. She wants to buy tzitzis for 6,000 shekel and send them to the troops. They said, "Yeah, you shouldn't say the whole thing." She said, "No, this is what I want to do." So he went out and bought thousands of shekel worth of tzitzis, and then he brought it to her. He says, "No, I want you to take it." He said, I agreed to buy it. I didn't agree to take it. No, you have to take it. So he called his friends in Dabrut, and he got them in touch with the
They figure it out.
the colonel. He got down to the base. He got down to the base. They stopped him. He said, "You can't go any further because we found the three terrorists have been infiltrated. We caught 2 of them, but we haven't caught the third one." So he handed out the tzitzis. We saw there was one soldier standing guard farther away, keeping an eye. It says Kim says, "No, you can't go there. That's an area that's we're watching." He says, "Oh, I'll tell you what." He took tzitzis, wrapped them up into a ball, and threw them towards the soldier. So, and the wind came, picked up the tzitzis, and lifted over to a bush. And out of the bush, the terrorists jumped up because they thought they found him, and of course they shot him. Right? He said it was the only terrorist that ever died wrapped in tzitzis.
It's a good story.
These are stories. The stories of Ma'aseh B'chol Yom every single day. It's the hashgacha process of Klal Yisrael. So as we said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu was waking us up. Yishmael's purpose is to tell us that Yaakov Avinu learned Torah for 14 years. This whole Parsha was to tell us Yaakov learned Torah for 14 years. And those 14 years would never be held against Yaakov, even though the other years that Yaakov spent with Lavan was held against him. Yosef all matched the Torahs of Yosef. So then we recognize that it's our Torah and our mitzvahs that are keeping Klal Yisrael's, this achdus that's taking place in Klal Yisrael, and that we'll see the achdus that Kadosh Baruch Hu should protect Klal Yisrael. The Torah of Klal Yisrael should protect all of us.
Amen.
All of us.
Amen.
But if you want to find interesting pieces of Torah in this parsha, I found one that truly for I had to try to figure out, do I have a teretz to a piece of Torah that will remain as a kasha?
Off Shri.
Off Shri. Well, yeah, it ties back into Shri pretty interestingly. Eliezer takes the Gemalim and he goes to tell, he goes through the whole thing with the testing to see if she's the right. Where is it? Hold on. The first, let me go back for a second. Before I get to that, task in about places, Rashi on Pasuk, this is Chavdal Chav Beis. When she finished giving the camels to drink, she says he gave her a nose ring, a gold nose ring weighed in a beka, and two armbands on her hands that weighed 10 pieces of gold. He says, whose daughter are you? Does your father have a place for us to sleep? Which was, as the Rashi will tell us later, is something that was so unusual, he didn't even ask who she was. He gave her the gold,
Right, and then
without even asking who she was. Particularly Rashi, Pasuk of Beis. He gave her a nose ring, Beka Mishkoloi. What's the Beka? Beka? Ram is the Shkoloi Yisrael Beka Lugugolos. It's the weight of a machzis or shekel.
how's it around us?
I know. Beka Lugugolos. Okay. Next Rashi. Shnei tzmidim, two armbands. Ramas, l'shnei luchos abris. It's a hint to two luchos abris. Asar zahav, 10 pieces of gold, mishkalam. Ramas, laseres hadibros. Shebahan. That's a hint. This is Rashi. This is Rashi telling us Parsha Pshat in the Pasuk. Rashi tells us Parsha Pshat in Rabbi Ramas. It's a hint. It's a hint to the Machzah Shekel. It's a hint to the tablets. It's to the Luchos. It's a hint to Aseres and Dibros. That's why he gave her these trinkets, so that we should be a Ramas to Aseres and Dibros, the Machzah Shekel. The Kli Yakar answers the kasha with an interesting thought. The difference between the first luchos and the second luchos. First luchos were broken, second were not. Gemara says why? Why were the first luchos? Because they were given before Hesed. They were given in public, koilos broken, and the whole world shook. Something that was given in the whole world, that the whole world saw, could have an eye on her. The second luchos were given b'chashoy, given quiet. Moshe Rabbeinu comes down after Yom Kippur, gives Klal Yisrael the Torah with tears. Give Torah with tears. So therefore, the second luchos were never broken. He says his test was, is she had an ayin tov? If she's willing to give to Eliezer and to give to his camels to drink, then she's a person with ayin tov. For an ayin tov, we know that they'll keep the luchos, second luchos, from breaking. So therefore, he said he wanted to see, does she have the ayin tov with which will give Bnei Yisrael the ability to endure and not lose the Torah. And the Kli Yakar, a number of other places, castigates Klal Yisrael for doing things too openly in public. And I'll leave the comments up to you.
This is Parsha.
This week's Parsha. Yeah, because and he says it several times in other places that all the Klal Yisrael do things that become that are affront to the nation of the world. All causes more sin into Klal Yisrael. Causes more sin and more. Doesn't make us any more beloved.
Should we go to the rally?
I leave the.
No, we didn't say that.
I know, I refuse to
I didn't
comment
say that.
because it was necessary to do something like that. Requires a shmir ma'alya. It needs to be a tremendous amount of shmir, and then depends who's going, why they're going, what's going to be accomplished by going. The rest, I have no way to be able to comment on. Okay. It struck me, this Kliyaka, when I saw it, it struck me very deeply.
See, I'm reading the one thing. That's right. I get that good. I get that. It's only 15 minutes. No, but yeah, Israel.
Is it a sea?
Okay.
Yeah. You should.
So Daz came about starts on Pasuk Lamed Tes. Chav Dal Lamed Tes. He said, maybe the girl will not want to go with me to come back to Eretz Yisrael. With which Yaakov, with which Abraham answered, Eliezer said, my master told me, Hashem Moshe Yislach li lefonov yishtach malacha itach v'sliach dakecha. V'kach to ish l'vnim yishach from Beisavodi. Hashem that I walked before him will send his malach to guide you, to be with you, and you will be successful. And you'll take a wife for my son, from my family, from my house, from my father's house.
Say anywhere else in the Torah that send a malach with somebody?
Hashem sends malachim for all of us.
No, I understand, but open?
Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu this. What?
No, I understand, but here, Eliezer.
So on Pasuk Lamed Tes, which is where he says, Ulai lo selach isha acharei, Ulai lo seva isha. Maybe she won't want to come. So Talskin says, Pirish Rashi, Shalkach siv Eli, well, maybe because maybe she wanted to go with me. But missing above, it tells us that that Eliezer had a daughter, and he said, if you don't, maybe my daughter will marry Yitzchak.
This is serious Rashi.
Yeah.
Off the Torah. This is Abram told me it was close.
The Das Cannibal Tesis brings this medrash, and then it says that how could Eliezer think that Abram would take Yishmael's daughter? Yishmael was part of Canaan. Yishmael was from Canaan, and there was a curse on Canaan, and that's why Abram told Eliezer, "I go there because my son can't marry somebody who comes from a house from family that were Kolola." So he says, so the Das Cannibal says, well, it could be that at this point, because he already became an Eved Avram, that the Kolola was no longer on him. Because he was already, he was now no longer Kanani, he was already part of Eved Avram. Okay? And what? Yeah, it was a ger. Then he says another pshat. Abraham told him, listen, so because of you're my Eved, you want my son to marry the daughter of an Eved? And also, this also brings that Eliezer was the son of.
Let me ask the question.
Yeah.
Aaron married a Shipcha. Why can't his daughter, his son, marry
That's only because Sara asked him to take the place so Abram could have children. So the cash on Sara, and then Sara has regret that she did it. But let's keep on going. That's kind of about this. He says another medrash says Eliezer was the son of Chum. Not only was on Canaan, but he was one of Chum's son. Okay. Now here comes the kicker. And Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer, Omer Eliezer Eved Avram, who oig Melech HaBashan.
Eliezer was big.
He was the Khan Beiser Shel Avram. He was the Avinu Chayei Eliezer. Because of all of Eved Oila, Shegoma Chesed im Yitzchak, Beitir L'Chereshanim. They did this Chesed, so that's why he was Zarcha to go directly to Shemaim. Eliezer never died. He's one of the 11 who's.
I want to say that Eliezer was Oig.
Eliezer was Oig, and because he did this Chesed, and Abraham freedom, that he would go L'Chereshanim. He would he gave him his freedom.
But didn't he live much longer?
Well,
Oig was one in the Nephilim, no?
So the picture of Eliezer continues and says, Hashem gave.
Maybe Oig that wouldn't have been cursed by now because he was alive before that.
Precaution. So that's kind of says this is the picture of Eliezer. What's the picture of Eliezer? Picture of Eliezer Gadol, the Rabbi of Akiva. Picture of Eliezer was a Tana, one of the greatest Tanuim. So the stuff in Picture of Eliezer is always. So he said that that's kind of about to ask a lot of conscience. So first of all, we know that Oig was a Russian, and we know that Moshe killed him. And Eliezer is a tzaddik. So how could he be a Russian and become?
Has the answer.
There's no answer.
And yet we know that Eliezer went directly into Gan Eden v'chaim. He went, right? And here it's the Moshe Rabbeinu killed him. So. It keeps on going, the kashas. So the last game about this comes with an answer. It says maybe the title Oig Melech HaBashan is a title, not a person.
Like the pharaohs.
Like Pharaoh. Right, like Pharaoh. Right. So there's two Oig Melech HaBashans. There was Oig Melech HaBashan, which was Eliezer. That's maybe what the town of Eliezer meant. And the one that fought with Moshe Rabbeinu was later Oig Melech HaBashan. So that's kind of about it, which is this is fascinating stuff. Like I never heard this stuff before. It's been there. I just never noticed it before. Okay. It's
like a high advisor.
Yeah. So is it possible that to say an alternative shot? Yes. Oh yeah, Eliezer Oig Melech HaBashan. And he goes and becomes the king of that challenges Bnei Yisrael. And Moshe Rabbeinu sees that this is Eliezer. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu was afraid of him. And not only because he became, so he did Avraham Avinu a teva, tell him that later, this is because he became Avraham Avinu's Eved. And he became Roy to be a tzaddik and to go directly into Elam Haba. And when it says when Moshe Rabbeinu killed him, man, the Moshe Rabbeinu said, "Okay, Eliezer, now it's time for you to go to Elam Haba." So the what? So it was did he remain a tzaddik or was he become a Russian? It's like another question. His whole purpose was to see, Klal Yisrael, you really want to go into Eretz Yisrael? Let's see if you're ready to fight for it. You ready to fight for Eretz Yisrael? Come on, let's see if you can fight. And then Klal Yisrael would wipe them out. Right? Eliezer said, I accomplished my purpose. I cannot go into Elam Haba. I've shown Klal Yisrael that if they're Moser Nefesh, they go into Eretz Yisrael, they'll be zeicher to even take over Me'ever Le'ar, they make it Kurdish. That's my reconciliation of the town debate. It really has. Because we see, as we see, is we like the end of the Parsha, Yishmael, the whole Torah gives us Yishmael in order to tell us Yaakov Avinu was Zeicher to Torah 14 years, never called Yisrael, would be Zeicher to have Torah for Netzach and Netzachim. Says Yaakov Avinu didn't even sleep. And therefore, everything that we see that's happening to us in our world is happening to us in order to get us to the place that we should be able to say, yeah, we're ready. That's Eretz Yisrael is worth fighting for. And everything that we have is that to bring the after the Klal Yisrael, it's worth fighting for. To get Klal Yisrael to turn mitzvahs, to put thousands to pairs of tefillin. It's worth fighting for.
Over 7,000 people.
Hmm?
Over 7,000 people.
This morning, when there was a unit out, 24 hours, and the guy in the unit, he missed film for the first time in his life.
Yeah.
So the whole unit put on film.
That's right. There's more stories. There's the story after the story of what's the changes that have taken place in 30 days to Klal Yisrael, a change that nobody could have ever imagined would
3
take
months
place.
ago, we were talking about civil war.
Yeah, that's right. Right. The Jews were ready to kill each other, fighting in the streets of Tel Aviv on Yom Kippur. And all of a sudden, everybody's achtus. You see, they're running and they're doing and they're bringing, they're helping and they're providing. So then it's not so hard to understand why Eliezer gave Rivka this jewelry. He said, everything that we do has an effect on Klal Yisrael for all future days. The fact that Rivka was a balas chesed, and therefore she was worthy of being in the house of Avraham, to take over the role of Sara Imenu, that she would be able to bring back to the ohel of Sara Imenu all the brachas that Sara had. He said, this is worth investing in. Because this is how Klal Yisrael is zecher to Torah. Because Klal Yisrael is zecher to Torah because we're going like chesed. Mil's chasadim is one of the 3 pillars, and according to the Ariya Kodesh, it's the only pillar for what we zecher to Mashiach. We've already had the pillar of Torah. Somebody knocking at the door.
Yeah, I heard it.
Anyone knows what it is?
Oh,
So therefore, when Eliezer extends to Rivka, it says, this person is a person he didn't have to ask. He already knew that this girl was somebody for which Torah could, the Gemil's Chesed would be able to be part of the commitment to this.
It's the second person.
Yeah. So we hear of Torah with Klal Yisrael zecher the Torah because Yaakov Avinu was able to sit and learn Torah for 14 years because Yishmael, because Rivka was because Eliezer, who would challenge Klal Yisrael to see if they're ready to do the avodah to go into Klal Yisrael, and Rivka because she was Gamel Chesed. Those are the 3 pillars of that the Klal Yisrael are unique for. Torah, avodah, Gemilus Chasadim. Those are the 3 pillars of Klal Yisrael. Right, that we are Goyim Chasadim. So much so that the Gemara tells us that if you see somebody who's not a Goyim Chasad, check to see if he's really Jewish. Because it's that which the others invested in us, so that we should be able to be Klal Yisrael. It's all in this Parsha. Yeah.
our DNA.
Torah, Veda, Gemilus Chasam. All those 3 pillars are in this Parsha. They're hidden. That's the Rashi says. The remez. It's a hint. It's a hint. You got to look a little deeper. You see, Eliezer said the remnant that's going to be from this Gemil Chesed, will you be able to zerch the Chamachsis HaShekel, which is in itself Achtas of Chal Yisrael. And the Luchas HaBris, so the Eliyahu goes through a long calculation and says, why, how is this, how is being a Garmel Chesed B'zerch to Aseret HaDibros? It says because of the two, it says because it's Shnei Tzmidim, two matching bracelets. So it says the first Luchas, the first 5 Aseret, the 5 of the first, the second 5. The first 5 end with that was Rivka. What did Rivka teach us? Not to be jealous, right? Her Ayin Tov, because of her Ayin Tov, said therefore she was there to be able to come, the mother of Klal Yisrael. So if that's the case, then we know that our task is now to be able to take that step forward, which will give Klal Yisrael the nitzvahs. Hashem should give Klal Yisrael all the protection. The Torah and mitzvahs that we're learning should protect all of us, including all here as well, because we need maybe even more protection than there because they have Eretz Yisrael to protect them. They have the Torah and mitzvahs of the Torah. So, as the young man said, he's learning Torah to protect. That's the soldier. That's what we're doing. We're protecting Klal Yisrael. To be a Sagoel, Hashem will protect us all, take us back to Eretz Yisrael.
Amen.
And then about the Kasha, what's supposed to go Zach Yisrael Fikach. Here, while in Torah mitzvah Shenemar, Al Noach Peit Saman Sidko Yag the Torah V'Yad Kadosh. Amen. Amen. Yeah, Yishmei Rabbi Mavach. La'olam